So right now both of my kids, 16-year-old son and 9-year-old daughter, and my ex are extremely mad at me because I won't give up my appointed time with them. My son won't even talk to me and my daughter is crying all the time. A little backstory. Me and my ex divorced shortly after my daughter was born. I blame him for it and he blames me. I won't go into detail here. We ended up with a 50-50 custody agreement switching every other week. While this was 8 years ago, we're still not on good terms. We rarely ever talk to each other outside of the kids, and I'm perfectly fine with that. One thing we have agreed on since the beginning though is that we don't plan things on days that aren't ours. And unless it's extremely important, we don't switch days or weeks. In the 8 years since we've been divorced, I have never asked him to have the kids on a day that isn't mine, and I've never given him one of my days even if he begged. Well, last week my ex contacted me and told me the good news. His parents are hosting a week-long family reunion in the summer at Disneyland and he wants to take the kids. Well, the problem is that it's on one of my weeks. He asked me to let the kids stay with him that week or to switch a week with me and I shot him down. It's my week with them and I get to spend it with them. I told him if it's so important to him to reschedule, but he claims his parents can't do that and this is the only week that the whole family can go and he told me that I need to think of them. I told him tough luck and hung upon him. Well, this last Sunday when my ex dropped the kids off with me, my son refused to talk to me at all and my daughter wouldn't even look at me. When I asked my ex what was wrong, he refused to talk to me, only saying ask them in a snarky tone before leaving. When I asked my daughter what was wrong, she burst into tears and said that I was not letting daddy take them to Disneyland. Asking my son, who still refuses to talk to me, it turns out that my ex told them I was not letting them go to Disneyland with him. He's trying to paint me as the bad guy. I sat both of them down last night to talk to them and explain it's my week with them, but they refused to listen to me. My daughter just cried and my son told me I'm only doing this to get back at my ex. I'm not though. I think it's unfair for him to do this when his parents scheduled it during my time with him. I demanded an apology from my ex and him to set things straight, but he refuses, and his last text to me was, "Can't tell them the truth cause they already know it." I'm so pissed right now. Am I the idiot because my ex scheduled something during my time with my kids? How is it my fault that I'm only using my right to spend time with them? You are the idiot to the point that I'm hoping this is either fake or that you're the 16-year-old compiling evidence for why you want to live with dad from now on. Your ex didn't try to take a week from you, he just asked you to be a little flexible with the schedule so your kids could have the opportunity to do something special. You refused, not because you actually had something important planned yourself or because you have some kind of problem with Disney, but simply because you could. How did you think that was going to go over? You are the idiot, and a petty idiot at that. Switch the week. Your kids have every right to be pissy with you, and this is the kind of crap that kids will remember forever. Your former in-laws, aka your kids' grandparents, have a whole life that doesn't revolve around you and your ex's petty squabbles. They have a family trip planned, and guess who's part of their family? Your children, who are innocent of any wrongdoing. It's not their fault you hate their dad or that the trip was planned on an off week. Do right by your children and let them go on the trip. You will regret it if you don't. Trust me. You're the idiot. My dad did something like this over my stepdad wanting to take me to France while he was on business. My dad threw a hissy fit because it was during his summer visit time and threatened to take my mom to court for it. I said fine, won't go, but I won't be coming to visit you either. And if you insist on taking this to court still, I'll make damn sure they know how I don't want to see you for the foreseeable future. As a result of my dad's petty, selfish crap, I lost out on a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. My girlfriend, 29, and I, 30, have been together for about 5 years now and finally agreed to move in together since her lease is up next month, and I love her. I recently bought my house, and since she's lived in places with no pet rules, she asked if she could finally get one as a move-in present, and I readily agreed. I also love pets and figured this would be a good thing for both of us. My only condition was no cats. I have nothing against them, in fact, I had one for 3 days myself right out of college, but I had to give her back because I could barely breathe and my skin turned a different color because it was decaying. She slept on my leg, and the contact is what caused this. I have what's called a prolonged exposure allergy, where I'm okay for a couple of hours around the cat, but when the allergy does it, it hits hard and is super bad. I have no clue if it's all cats or just the one cat, and so I've avoided having them ever since. I explained this to my girlfriend and she agreed. 2 weeks go by, no issues as she unpacks and gets settled. I figured another few weeks, let everything die down some more, and then we'll go get a dog or a hamster or maybe a bird. I'm not picky, I love animals. I leave for work and when I come home, there's a damn kitten trying to rub against my ankle. I try to not freak out, thinking it was a stray my girlfriend found and she was just housing it until the shelter opened tomorrow, but no. My girlfriend spent $300 on a kitten because she's so cute and so friendly. I put my foot down. Yes, the kitten is cute, but I refuse to have an animal that could kill me in the house. I told her that she has 3 days to take the animal either to the pound or back to the store when it opened on Monday, or I will. Welp, Tuesday morning, kitten was still there, adoption paper had been destroyed by her, and so I had had enough. Already had breathing problems, so I did some research, gathered up mittens, and took her and all of her things to a local cat sanctuary. The guy who took her understood completely, happily accepted the donations. I even threw in some cash, since he's doing good work rehoming these sweeties, and promised that such a sweet friendly kitten would quickly be rehomed. I did think, well, girlfriend was asleep, to ensure she wouldn't stop me. My girlfriend burst into tears and left for a friend's house. She demands an apology before she comes home, and while most of our friends agree I was in the right for my safety, I should have at least let her say goodbye. I say that the cat shouldn't have been there in the first place, I gave her the option, and so she's the one who owes me the apology. Am I the idiot, or was she? Not the idiot. I have a cat allergy. I also have always had cats, long before I knew I has an allergy. I can get shots. My niece has cat allergies as well, can't stay in my house overnight. The severity of any allergy is individual. I think you should reconsider your relationship. She could have killed you. You stated that you were already having trouble breathing. That's a pretty severe allergic response. Allergies change over time and it could be getting worse. Not the idiot, my husband has a severe allergy to cats as well. I had my cat before we ever met. I gave my cat up for my relationship. My mom has my cat, so I still see him when I can, so don't think I just threw my cat out for a man. I didn't. He's very well taken care of and still with family. She never shouldn't have gotten a cat when she knew upfront of your allergy. Was she just trying to text you? See if you really had an allergy. What will she do next if you tell her no for something she wants that isn't safe for you? Maybe it's time to rethink this relationship. Not the idiot. To be honest, I'm imagining this as a horror flick. First, it's a death cat, but then what? Poison your food. Throw a toaster into your tub while you're in it. Or if you want to go less dramatic, I could see her as one of those who would lie to you about being on birth control or something. This is seriously scary. Oh, and illegal. In my opinion, what she did was assault. I'm sure there are other laws this would violate, but I'm tired and don't feel like being a lawyer today. My 24 wife, 24, is 24 weeks pregnant with a baby boy. She made it very clear from even before she was pregnant that she really wanted a daughter, and she made the odd joke about sending it back if it was a boy. The jokes all seemed lighthearted, and I just thought if she got pregnant and it was a boy she'd change her mind. Fast forward to our 20-week scan. We go in super excited and nervous. I don't mind about the gender, my wife is crying with excitement as she had a feeling it was a girl. We go in and find out we are having a boy. My wife immediately bursts into tears and I hold her hand, knowing immediately that she was disappointed and putting it down to the pregnancy hormones. She doesn't stop crying the whole day. I let her calm down and try to comfort her. It's been nearly 4 weeks now and she still cries when someone mentions the baby. She refuses to do anything to do with the nursery and won't discuss anything pregnancy related. The family is starting to think it's weird, but she said she doesn't want people to judge her for how she feels. Now that it's been nearly a month, I'm starting to get a bit frustrated. It's just such an overreaction. I told her she needs to come to terms with this because the gender isn't going to change. She cried and called me an idiot. I told her she needs to get a grip. I felt awful, but I feel like nearly a month of this is ridiculous. My wife and I made up, but she's still acting the same, and I'm getting upset again. Am I the idiot for being upset about this? I love the baby beyond words and am just upset she doesn't seem to anymore. No idiots here. Dude, I feel you. I went through the exact same thing. Wife wanted a girl so bad she had this timing calculator and did every old wives' tale in the book, and we even made love on the right moon phase or some crap. Life had different plans, and she was mortified to find out that we were having a boy. The biggest thing that helped was talking through it, finding out why she wanted a girl, and making the point that most things you can do with girls you can do with boys. Once she started to realize that it got easier, and eventually she got excited about it. No idiots here. She sounds like she needs to talk to her doctor. Overly emotional is understandable. Feeling that you're having a girl then finding out you're having a boy can be a shock. However, it sounds like she is actually experiencing depression. You need to be supportive instead of angry. Her doctor definitely needs to be aware of her emotions because it puts her at risk for postpartum depression, and it could cause her to have bonding issues when the baby is born. She's not throwing a temper tantrum. She just needs help. No idiots here. I was your wife. I thought I was mentally prepared to have a child. I ended up crying every single day of my pregnancy, huge heaving sobs. I dreaded having the baby. Those were the worst 9 months of my life. The day the baby was born, I stood in the shower and sobbed for hours. I didn't seek out help while pregnant. It took some major convincing after the baby got here to go into counseling and start on meds. Prenatal and postnatal depression are very real and very debilitating. She needs compassion. She needs therapy and to speak to someone now. A few years ago my cousin started seeing a married man. He eventually left his 4-year-old son at the time and his wife of 10 years for her. They marry soon after and have been together ever since. I hadn't seen my cousin in over 10 years and was fairly excited to see her, her kids, as well as the rest of my family. After a good meal, a day of visiting and reminiscing, we were all sitting around a bonfire drinking spiked hot chocolate and just laughing and shooting the stuff. Someone brought up a subject on how she met her husband. She said she met him at work, that they had worked on a project together, and she found him extremely attractive. He is, I'll give him that, and she knew he was married with a child, but didn't care, and decided she wanted him and took him. Now, to me, this was bad enough, but she proceeded in adding that after they married, that they tried the weekend visitation thing with his son, but she didn't like him. She wanted a child of her own and didn't want a constant reminder of his life before, so she told her husband that she would only have his children and remain married to him if he'd cut all ties with his son. Yep, he did it. He signed over his rights to his first child for her and her potential children. She said all this with the hugest smile. She was proud of herself. Now, here's where I might be the idiot. I didn't say anything at first. I just shook my head and sipped my hot chocolate. I must have had a bad look on my face or something, because she says to me in a loud voice, "What's your problem?" So I just let it out. I said, "So you're so insecure and selfish, you can't find your own unmarried man. You have to go after someone with children, then give him ultimatum of me or your kid. You destroyed a small child for your own selfish wants and never felt one iota of remorse in doing it. That makes you and him both a piece of crap, but you especially are a hateful selfish idiot, and I hope like hell your kids grow to hate you both. Get your crap packed and get the hell out of my house." I then went in my house and everyone left. My aunt called me the next day to lay into me for passing judgment and accused me of being jealous. My mother said I was right, but should have kept it to myself. My family is split, but my brother said I just said what everyone else was thinking. So everyone, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You were understandably enraged but kept quiet. She then proceeded to provoke an answer out of you. Good for you for telling it like it is. She deserves to be upset. Your aunt is also an idiot. No kidding, you're passing judgment. Why isn't she? She's proud of raising this completely self-centered child. And your mother is wrong for wanting to keep the peace. No. Cousin has no reason to be smiling proudly for her achievement, and it's time family called her out on it. Not the idiot. She disrupted both his ex-wife's and his young child's home life and then completely ruined the guy's relationship with that kid. She's disgusting, and anyone who tells her otherwise is a terrible person. The husband is worse though, since he agreed to all of that. Also, seducing a married man isn't very smart. For all she knows, he could end up doing the same to her and her child that he did to his ex-wife and son. Not the idiot. If I was ever to have a relationship with someone with kids, then I'd make it work and accept the kids as part and parcel. That poor baby will grow up wondering where his daddy has gone, and when he finds out daddy went and got a brand new family, that's gonna hurt him and make him feel like he wasn't good enough. You told her straight up how it was and good on you. I can guarantee he will eventually cheat and leave her the exact same way, and even though I don't know her, I hope it happens sooner than later. My mother-in-law, 63, has been staying over during this pandemic. She can be a little overbearing, but she's a nice person, and it's been fine for the most part. Other people in the house are myself, 32, my husband, 33, and our kids, 6, 4, 3. Every day the younger two are in bed by 8 and the oldest by 9. My mother-in-law goes to bed around 11. My husband and I usually go to bed past midnight. Well, from around 9 to 11, my husband, myself, and sometimes my mother-in-law are in the living room watching TV, talking, laughing, etc. Sometimes I go to the bathroom and use the toilet or take a shower. My mother-in-law has been on my case about how I'm disrupting the kids' sleep and how we can't be so loud at night. If it were up to her, we would only be whispering past the kids' bedtime and not flushing the toilet after taking a crap. It's not like we're yelling or listening to music or partying, we're literally just doing normal everyday activities. Also, the kids sleep fine. The thing is, my husband has a history of being overly sensitive about his sleep. I think part of it is that he grew up in a pretty isolated rural area, so he didn't have to deal with street noise or light pollution, but I think my mother-in-law also played a part. She always turned on a white noise machine for him, didn't make any noise past his bedtime, and did whatever she needed to do in complete darkness lest the light coming in through the crack in his bedroom door disturb his sleep. As a result, my husband cannot sleep in hotel rooms or cars, or planes or tents or really anywhere other than our own house or his mother's house. He needs a white noise machine or a fan on in order to go to sleep. Back before we had kids, we used to live with roommates, and he would always have unreasonable expectations of them with regards to light and noise. Anyway, last night I microwaved a warm compress to use for my cramps. I even took care to stop the microwave before it started beeping, so my mother-in-law wouldn't yell at me. But she had an issue with the noise the microwave makes when opening and closing, and she came over to the kitchen to yell at me about how growing kids need sleep. I ended up telling her that I specifically don't go out of my way to avoid sleep disturbances for my kids because I see how detrimental my husband's sleep sensitivity is to his life, and I don't want them to end up like him. She got upset with me and said, "Why did you marry him then?" My husband isn't upset about my line of thinking. We've talked about his issues before, and he agrees that he is overly sensitive about his sleeping environment and doesn't want the same for our kids. However, he thinks I was the idiot for telling off his mother like that and making her feel like her parenting isn't enough. Am I the idiot for being honest with my mother-in-law that I don't want to create the same issues for my children that she created for my husband? Not the idiot. Your husband should be agreeing with you since he's living the results of his mother's incorrect parenting when it comes to sleep. I'm the same due to that. And I hate it. I have to wear industrial-grade earplugs whenever I sleep anywhere with the slightest noise. You were in the right. They're your kids, she has no right to stick her beak in and tell you how to parent. Keep doing as you do and keep repeating to her that that's not how you choose to parent your kids. The sooner she goes home, the better. I grew up in a house where it was silent night every night and I still now wake up to every damn noise. I really think it made me more sensitive, and I'm a firm believer that you should be loud as hell when your kids are little so they can actually sleep through things. I don't know if that's true, but it was my experience growing up. I also use a fan to help fall asleep and probably am stuck doing it forever. Edit. Not the idiot, your kids, your choice. And a valid explanation.